All right, fans, welcome to Sports Night with Jorge. As I promised you guys today at 10:30, we will talk about all the head coaches that have coached the Miami Dolphins. All right, guys, let's get started. Here we go. Miami Dolphin head coaches since 1966. The AFL, of course, that's how they used to be called back then. And now it's called the NFL. So, as you see here, our first coach, believe it or not, was George Wilson, American football coach. He was a former player for the Chicago Bears, and then he was a National League Football NFL Detroit Lions coach later on in his career before joining the Miami Dolphins. He joined the Miami Dolphins in 1966. George Wilson Jr. was a starting quarterback during his team's first season. Wilson Jr. was unable to obtain a winning record in 4 seasons with Miami. He was fired in February 1970 and replaced by Don Shula. So at that time, the owner was Joe Robbie. Now, I'm not going to talk about the owners on this one, but unfortunately, that's how we started this franchise in Miami and down at the Orange Bowl, by the way, which now they play in a Hard Rock Cafe, and we know that one already by Stephen Ross. He built that stadium on his own money. So let's get started here. So now we're going to Don Shula. Don Shula record, amazing, a legend, the best. I think he was a great coach. Yes, I know the time has passed by because I think every decade the NFL the season changes, man. But anyhow, Don Shula record 347 wins, 173 losses, 6 ties. That's including playoffs. Shula is the winningest coach of NFL history, leading the Dolphins to 2 Super Bowl victory, 7-8. Okay. Of course, he also had a Super Bowl loss against the Jets when Baltimore faced the Jets. Now, I'm not going to make this a long video. I'm going to go coaches by coaches. There's also interim coaches that I'm going to enter in the conversation. With some pictures not here, might not be here, but there were interim coaches who took over the team, and of course, didn't succeed to become coaches. They were let go or either stay as a team as a coach. So after Don Shula retires, Jimmy Johnson came in. Now, in perspective, guys, understand this. I'm gonna give you their records and playoff. Okay, wins and losses. That's what I'm gonna start with, so you guys have an idea what I'm coming from, and you're gonna see how you say, "Wow, if we had this coach a little bit longer, how far we could have gone." But things happen. Of course, Don Shula had Dan Marino. Remember that, and so did Jimmy Johnson, by the way. Which that's where he ends his career, with Jimmy Johnson coaching the Dolphins, and then he left the team. So Jimmy Johnson's regular season record was 36-28, playoff record 0-2. But here's the thing I don't get: Jimmy Johnson, a 2-time Super Bowl coach with the Dallas Cowboys, led the Dolphins to several successful seasons, but was unable to win a playoff game during that time. Which, of course, but hey, they picked him up because they thought that he was going to take him to the next step, which was the playoffs. Didn't happen. Here's a coach that I'm going to talk about that really I loved and don't know what happened here, but you guys might have an idea. It's the next coach, Dave Wanstead. Dave Wanstead was 42-31. That's his regular season record. Playoffs record 1-2. Of course, he came from another team. Wanstead took the Dolphins to the playoffs twice, but had no major playoff success. Okay, so these 3 coaches I just named you had a winning season. Okay? The one that had the most playoff, of course, was Don Shula. But between Jimmy Johnson and Dave Wannstedt, we're already 0-4 in the playoffs. Okay? Now it's going to get worse from here on out. Next guy, and we know the story of this guy, Nick Saban. Nick Saban, 2005 to 2006. That's all he coached for the Dolphins. His season records 15-17, playoffs 0-0. Saban lasted just 2 seasons in Miami before returning to college football. Guys, I know we got mad, we got upset what he did. I think we would have drafted Drew Brees if he was still there. There was so much things that he wanted, and this is why I'm not talking about the owners, because there's a lot of stuff we could talk about that could have been done. But remember, the owners are the one that actually pay the money. They are the one that, gives the contract and say, hey, I want you here, but it didn't happen. But anyhow, unfortunately, Drew Brees ended up in New Orleans, and man, he became a legend there also. So, but Nick Saban actually really dumped the Miami Dolphins, as all Dolphin fans know. We got upset with it, but guys, his passion was college football, Alabama, and you saw what he did in Alabama. So he ended up with a record once again at 15-17. So now here comes the other one. Cam Cameron, my gosh, only lasted 1 year, 2007, regular season at 1 win, 15 losses. Playoff record 0-0. Cameron's only season as a head coach was historically poor, with a 1-15 record. Yes, it was. It was terrible, guys. And I remember we won the last game with Jason Taylor. Never forget that. I mean, it is so difficult to win in the National Football League. I've been saying that. The only thing is, I haven't get to the topic yet, but I get to the end of the program, what I'm talking about, these 3 topics that I've been doing in the podcast, so you guys can understand where I'm coming from. What is the direction of the Miami Dolphins? What is the direction for every other team in the NFL? If you don't have these 3 elements in your ball club, you have a problem. But I'll get to that at the end of the program here in my podcast. So my next one is the guy who started the Wildcat, Tony Sperano. Man, did we had a good season there. And once again, Tony's record from 2008-2011, regular season record 29-30, 29-32. Playoff record 0-1. Once again, we couldn't make the playoffs. Sperano led the Dolphins to a divisional title in 2008, but was fired midway through the 2011 season. So, we get the wild card. We get the Wildcat. Correction on that. We had great offense. We were doing so much trick plays. And once again, we failed at the end. Then comes the other guy. Wait till I tell you the stats at the end of this program. You're going to shock. Joe Philbin. Philbin regular season record 24 wins, 28 losses. Playoff record 0-0. Philbin included a 79 record in his final season and failed to make the playoffs. So all these coaches failed to make the playoffs. Here we go. Then came one guy that right now is having success in the league, Dan Campbell. Boy, I wish they would have kept him, because this is something that you don't give chance and opportunity to this coach to develop. Okay, I believe a coach should be signed a 3-year contract. See what happened in 2-3. See, here's the thing. You have a 3-year contract. Let me get to the point for a second. And you develop in 3 years. You have a 2 winning season and 1 losing season. Would you actually fire that coach? Because he still had a winning season 2 out of the 3 years, but he didn't make the playoffs. This is why all these coaches are getting released from Miami right away. So Dan Campbell, ready? As an intern. 2015, that's when he came in for Joe Philbin. 5-7, no playoffs. Campbell served as an intern coach after Philbin firing, but the team finished under 500. You never get the guy the chance. You should have given Campbell a chance, see what happens. Give him a whole full year, 2 years, see what happens. But no, we decided to cut him loose. So then comes the great one, Adam Gase. Adam Gase coached 2016, 2018, regular season record 23-25, playoff record 1-1. Gase took the Dolphins to the playoffs. How about that in 2016, but was dismissed after 3 seasons. So here's a guy that took us to the playoffs, but then it got terrible because the offensive line, it was a chaos. It wasn't working. But once again, he got you a playoff win. We didn't went to the second round. I mean, but that's fine. He got you a playoff win. But it was allowed with Adam Gase anyhow. So then came our favorite here, guys. Brian Flores. Brian Flores coached 2019, 2021. Let me tell you about this coach. He's not a bad coach. He is more a defensive coach. See, this is something about coaching staff that I have seen through the years, that teams are picking offensive coach, defensive coach to become head coaches. That is not an easy task because that is your expertise. That's why you hire an offensive coordinator. That's why you hire a defensive coordinator. And you handle managing the team. You need to coach the team. And that's something I'm going to talk at the end of the program with our last guy. So Brian Flores came in the regular season at 24-25, playoff appearance 0-1. Flores made notable improvement to the Dolphins defense and finished with back-to-back winning season before dismiss. So here we go. Finish with back-to-back winning season. But then he was let go. So see, the coaches are winning in Miami. It's just they're not winning when it comes to the playoffs. If they get to the playoffs. You can't blame the coach for everything, guys. You got to look at the players. And I'm going to get to the players in a few minutes too because, like I said, I don't want to make this video short. I could add more stuff to this, but I didn't add more stuff because it would take too long video. Then finally, this happened. We hired a genius. A genius who bought Tua Tagovailoa because if you see, Flores didn't want Tua. Flores wanted Herbert, and he didn't get it. So it is amazing, guys, how sometimes we like to critique, complain, whine. But if you look at the history of all these coaches all together, okay, and let's be honest, it's been over 20-something years we haven't won a playoff game, okay? But some of these coaches had good winning records. They had winning seasons. So I'm going to get to the point now. If you got winning season, is the general manager and owner are really taking care of your needs? Now, I'm not too crazy of getting high players to get paid in your team because you think that player is going to take you to the promised land. I told you guys that already. It's 11 on defense, 11 on offense. And don't forget your 53-man roster. That's included, by the way. Okay? The list that I gave you, it's a progression coaches and their records. Highlights both of the success and challenges to the Miami Dolphins in the post of Don Shula era. So imagine that Don Shula era. So his era, right? His career. This is amazing, guys. I did the number and I couldn't believe it when I did it. And I said to myself, is this crazy or what? I mean, how can this happen in this league? But it does. You know, Don Shula has basically 328. This is regular season now. This is not the 347. This is regular season. Regular season. 328 wins. Okay, this is Don Shula record, guys. That's a regular season coach. This is what I'm gonna come to. 328 wins, 156 losses, and 6 tied, a 676 percentage. All those coaches that I just named you has a total of 199 wins and 208 losses. And that's not even counting playoffs, which they don't have none. Only one, really, in all those years. So Shula is basically over 100 and something wins over all these coaches. He's under 44 losses to all these coaches, 208 in total. Now, I didn't mention Tim Bowles because our top Boyles, he's also was an intern current coach for the Dolphins, by the way. Bowl was. So doesn't that tell you something? And you remember, Shula got Dan Marino, and Dan Marino never had a running game. Basically, he never did. But he had Dubert and Mark Clayton. Okay, they were winning. They were a winning team. They made the playoffs. They lost to the playoffs. Okay, but they made it. Okay, so my thing is, they all have to be in the same page. They all do. But here's the success that Dolphin had with Don Shula. Are you ready? And this is what I was going to tell you at the end of the program. And then, of course, at the end, they decided to put Jimmy Johnson to take over Don Shula. But at the same time, I'm going to say something. Don Shula had leadership. Don Shula had accountability. And Don Shula has discipline. Now, what happened? When Don Shula, Miami was the least penalized team in the NFL. Now, I'm going to tell you what a lot of people told me, and this is our sports fans, that really, guys, just get over it. Get over it, because let's be honest, okay? This is pro football. We know about the refs. Well, Don Shula was in the ref committee, so, he gets a break. I don't believe that, guys. We mentioned that, and I don't believe that, okay? Just because he's the head coach of the Miami Dolphins, and he was the least penalized coach, it's because he was in the NFL committee. Come on. We need to stop that. That's not true. That is not true. I always ask myself, you play football at the end of the day, regardless. Okay, flag, no flag, that's part of sports. But those are the main things that Don Shula had in his ball club that Miami is lack of. Okay, lack of since, and I'm going to tell you right now, since Dave Wannstedt, that's the coach I would have kept and waited, but they let him go. For me, from all these coaches, the best coach that I like was Dave Wannstedt. What happened is, the moment that we got Mike McDaniels, which he's a genius. He came from Yale University. The guy's amazing. Okay, great offense, 22. With Tua, leading the NFL in passing, and Cheetah almost getting 2,000 yards. But what has happened? What's happened? These three things I just named you: leadership, accountability, and discipline. Too many flags in the games. There's no accountabilities. And when it comes to accountability, people think that it's putting a player in your face and yelling at him and say, hey, man, you're going to, no, that's not accountability. The obligation of willingness and accept responsibility for one action, for more than one action, decisions and their outcomes, it involves being unanswered in both success and mistakes, and taking a step to correct and improve situations like this. That's all McDaniel got to do. Then you have your captains in your ball club with the C on the T-shirt or on their jersey, what you want to call it. Okay, and their abilities to guide, to inspire, to influence to other towards achievement common goals. It involves setting a vision, motivation, individual, making decisions, and fostering an environment that promotes team work and success. A guy comes down, he makes a good play. Hey, man, good job, buddy. Keep going, man. It's okay. The moment he fumbled, man, you're terrible. You're not good. Go back to the bench. That's not the way it works, guys. And then the McDaniel discipline part. You practice this every day in OTAs, in preseason, until you get to the regular season. The practice of training ourselves in order to follow rules, maintain self-control, and consistently work towards getting goals focused to determine. It also involves enforcing standards of behaviors and maintaining order and structure in action. That is very crucial. Maintaining order and structure in action. That means, okay, flags are going to happen in the NFL, guys. They are going to happen. But you have to maintain, okay, a certain amount of level. They're saying this flag could cost a game. This flag may cost your career. This flag might hurt the team. This flag. So eliminate those mistakes. You see, Teron, the offensive tackle for the Dolphins, Teron said something the other day that was very impressive. You can't have the defense doing good and the offense doing bad. Or you cannot have the offense doing good and the defense being bad. We both got to be in the same page. So that's something that makes you think a little bit. It really does. Because you got to win on both sides of the ball, not only on offense. That's one thing I said. And I'm going to break down something later on through my podcast. I hope you guys enjoy your playoff weekends this week. Once again, there's a lot of stuff going on this week. So hopefully, we have a good actually weekend with the playoffs with Houston and San Diego. I mean, we just down pack. My concern is on Sunday is the Eagles and the Packers. Which quarterback really is going to be healthy? Which quarterback is going to really, take over that team? Because remember, Hurts coming out from concussion, Love from an elbow injury, so. It's a lot. It's a lot, guys. It's really a lot. Now, I didn't give you McDaniel's record at the end because I'm not going to do that until his final season is over. Okay? Listen, McDaniel is not a bad coach, but it's not a good one either. Yes, he's genius. Yes, he has a good potential, to become better than what he is. But at the same time, guys, you have to look at, who do you really have in your ball club? I mean, what players you want in your ball club? Winners or players just say, just give me my contract, and I think that's what's been hurting Miami for a long time. Let me give you something about the owners that I'm gonna talk about later on. The original owner of Miami Dolphins was Joe Robbie. The general manager was Joe Thomas at that time. Then we have Wayne Huizenga as your owner. Then we have Stephen Ross. Then we have Rick Spielman as your GM. Jeff Ireland as your GM, Chris Greer as your GM. So Stephen Ross has 1, 2, 3 GMs since he's been there. So I'll talk about GM on my next segment. Yeah, I'm gonna bring it up, and it's gonna be owners and GM. And it's about the Miami Dolphins. That's what we're talking about. But anyhow, you guys enjoy your weekend. Like I said, be safe. Thank you so much for joining in. I hope you enjoy this. Once again, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Love you guys, man. Have a blessed weekend. Stay safe. It's 2025. It's the new year. I'm going to leave you a word of encouragement. Stay positive. Don't let nothing around you just take you down, bring you negativity. You know what? You are a good person. We love one another. We support one another. Okay? When you're down, hey, I'm here to pick you up. And that's the way it is, guys. It's having a great relationship with your family, especially with God, the guy up there. Now, I'm not here to judge anybody. I'm not here to point fingers. I'm not here to, that's not me. I hope you like my podcast. I hope you enjoy this one here. Like I said, I didn't went into full details. I just gave you records, playoff records, and their career with Miami, what has happened. And hopefully the Dolphins could turn it around in 2025, 2026. Now, I'm going to say this. People are talking out there, rumors about drafting a quarterback. This is the last ride for this team. This is the last ride for Mike Greer. This is the last ride for McDaniels. And who knows, probably Tua. They're talking about that people are upset with Tua injury. You know what? If that's the case, I'm going to go back to the Miami Dolphins in 1970 with Don Shula. Didn't Bob Greasy got hurt and Earl took it to the Super Bowl? That's my question. So we're talking about just one individual because he's a quarterback. Now, I know you're going to tell me that was back then, George. I understand that. But I think Miami Dolphins has run out of excuses. For me, is take care of business, move on, and get a playoff win. Get your fan base back. Because I'm going to tell you something. Revenue, that's the NFL number one, revenue. I can fill the stadium up. I can fill my thing up if I add a superstar. See, the Dolphin fans are tired of the superstars. The Dolphin wants to win. The fans wants to win a playoff. The fans want to go to the Super Bowl. At least take us to 1 round, 2 round. That's what we want. But let's see on 2025. Once again, thank you for subscribing. You guys have a blessed day, and see you soon, and enjoy your wild card game today. Take care.